Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of The Grandstand here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network channel. I am, as always, your host, AR, the Ohio Patriot. I am the founder and creator of Ohio Patriot Education Network, as well as Ohioans for Firearms Freedom and a few other 2A organizations in the state of Ohio. Like always, everything said today is according to the First Amendment of free speech and freedom of the press of the U.S. Constitution. So for today's episode, we're going to talk about a few stories today, 2A related, but we're also going to talk about Shannon Brandt, who has finally been charged with the murder of Kyler Ellingson, and why Tim Ryan needs to now be tried as an accessory to Kyler's murder. We've talked about this before a few times, and yeah, it's way past time for Tim Ryan to be brought up on charges, be thrown out of the U.S. Senate race here in Ohio, and basically be hauled out to fucking jail where he belongs for the past couple decades now. But we'll talk about that here in a couple minutes. We'll also be talking about a few other stories, Breitbart related stories, a bunch of bearing arms related stories and stuff like that, and a few stories of exactly why John Fetterman's bitch ass also needs to be thrown out of the Senate race in Pennsylvania over his anti-gunner bullshit, dude. And exactly what I've said before, and I'll say again, this is why we need a 20th Amendment of the Constitution to even stop people from running for office if they're running on anti-gun, anti-constitutional platforms. And it's as simple as that, dude. They should be disqualified from the running entirely based on that alone. Because you're pre-oath breaking is what it is, dude. Doesn't know about what an actual oath to office is. It's basically you get into office, you swear an oath to the Constitution, and if you're at a state level or whatever, for state senator or whatever it is there, or governor or lieutenant governor or whatever it is, you're swearing a secondary oath to the state then that you're over to, abide by their constitution as well at a state level. But the thing is, if you're running for, federal office, it's just the U.S. Constitution that you're swearing an oath to. And the thing is, when you're breaking that oath by even running on these platforms for office, like, nah, bro, fuck you. You're done here, is what it needs to be. For real. But anyway. So starting out with got a bunch of different stuff here from Bearing Arms I want to talk about today. And I think we'll just start there is what it is. We'll actually start with the Shannon Brandt story, since we have this labeled as the Tim Ryan thing here. So, for those who don't know, Shannon Brandt is the guy who killed Kyler Ellingson, I think that's how I pronounce his name. This was literally 2 or 3 days after Tim Ryan talked about killing the MAGA movement, dude. I'd like to point that one out, actually. Happened in a different state than Ohio, but still, the fact that it was like that fucking quick, dude. Like, yes, Tim Ryan should be tried as an accessory to murder at this point, dude. And it's as simple as that, honestly. So yeah, you got Shannon Brandt now charged with murder. There was another one in Michigan, actually, in the past week or two here, of an old woman, I believe is what it was. She was like 84, and she was a pro-life person who was handing out literature around like some rally or whatever. And some douchebag leftist pulled a gun out and tried to clap her ass, is what it was. Thankfully, she survived being shot or whatever by this douchebag. And that person's only been tried with like attempted murder at this point, or assault with deadly weapon, whatever it is there. But they got like a real low fucking bail fund, is what it was. It was like 10 grand or 12 grand or something like that, crazy. And again, this is what happens when you allow for fucking pieces of shit back on the damn streets, dude, is what it is. You're going to keep having stuff like that happen again over and over again. But anyway, going on to this bearing arms story, though, said Shannon Brandt, who ran over an 18-year-old kid, being Kyler Ellingson, said in self-defense because the other man was a right-wing extremist and was probably calling for a more extremist to come and hurt him. Said, so he ran him over. This was Tom Knight that wrote this article, by the way. Said, for a time, he was only charged with basically killing someone in a drunk driving accident. Those charges completely ignored Brent's own admission that he intended to cause harm. Said, now he's being charged with actual murder. However, there are still issues. And then the article here said, Ed wrote about the story last week about Shannon Brandt was released on a patly $50,000 bail. That seemed extremely low for what looked like murder, but at the time, Brandt was only charged with criminal vehicular homicide, which is the unintended killing of someone by a car, or with a car. So today those charges were dropped and replaced with a homicide charge, as it should be. Said case has now at least been upgraded to the proper charge, for which the intentional bail amount was obviously insufficient. Main reason the story got so much attention was that Brent claimed he ran over 18-year-old Kyler Ellingson because they'd had a political dispute. He claimed during an 911 call that Ellingson was an extremist Republican who made the incident sound like a politically motivated murder, because it fucking was, dude. And sorry, this is not politically motivated murder. This is political assassination, motherfuckers. This is literally Tim Ryan's bitch ass calling for killing of the fucking MAGA movement, and 2 or 3 days later, where this happened in North Dakota, you had this fucking Kyler kid lose his life because of fucking dickless pieces of shit like Tim Ryan being allowed to run for office ever again in this fucking country, dude. No, what Tim Ryan did, dude, is the definition of fucking terrorism. He called for the murder of people in the pursuit of political aims. For violence and intimidation, the pursuit of political aims is what terrorism is. And that's exactly what fucking Tim Ryan called for that day, dude, a few weeks ago. And it's exactly why he needs to be removed from the Ohio Senate race entirely for U.S. Senate. And he needs to be fucking looked at and investigated for multiple fucking charges, up to and including accessory to murder. And it's as simple as that. Anyway, where are we at here now? So police announced a few days ago, they said there was no evidence politics were involved. I call bullshit on that one entirely, dude. I call absolute bullshit on that entirely. Said North Dakota Highway Patrol Captain Brian Nguyen told Fox News Digital on Sunday that there was no evidence that Ellingson was a Republican extremist and the incident involved politics, except for the fact that the kid literally was like, yeah, this fucking creepy motherfucker's following me because we had a fucking dispute about politics, dude. Said, quote, we have uncovered no evidence to support Brent's claim on 911 call he made that Ellingson was a Republican extremist, nor incident involved politics. Said this is a terrible tragedy for the Ellingson family. We continue to investigate the incident. Crash itself and the claim made by Brent, but at the time, there was no evidence to corroborate Brent's sentiment, which is absolute bullshit entirely, dude. Absolute fucking bullshit. This dude 100 fucking % killed this kid for politically fucking reasons, dude. It's a bunch of crap entirely. I'm not even going to bother reading the rest of the stuff from what's his name, because it's not worth it, honestly. Oh, and then you got that fucking douchebag Mandela Barnes calling Beverly being slammed for mocking a shooting victim. Like, what a sack of shit, dude. I'd like to point something out. Mandela Barnes' bitch ass, who's the current lieutenant governor of Wisconsin right now under Tony Evers' asshole-ish ass, dude. Barnes himself was endorsed by quote-unquote 2 cops that were active duty police, and both of them not come out and been like, no, this fucker's a lying sack of shit, dude. We never endorse his bitch ass. Because he's a piece of fucking crap is what it is, dude. He is a fucking legit piece of fucking garbage is what it is, dude. Yes, his U.S. Senate race in Wisconsin is shaping up to be a nail-biter. Incumbent Republican Ron Johnson holding a narrow but significant lead in polling over Democrat Mandela Barnes. Gun control groups are already spending significant money on the race, with every town for gun safety trying to claim that Johnson has voted against funding the police departments, a claim that factcheck.org recently claimed or called misleading, given that Johnson had actually voted against trillion-dollar spending bills that included a host of measures well beyond law enforcement funding. So here's my problem in general, dude. Why the fuck is every town allowed to even run political ads at all in this point in time in history, dude? Or anything for that matter? Why are they allowed to fund fucking politicians for office entirely, dude? When their entire thing is to basically steal your fucking constitutional rights, is what it is. Why are they allowed to get away with literally fucking handing envelopes full of cash to Ohio State reps like Allison Russo a year and a half ago? That's a real good fucking question right there, dude. Why is none of this being investigated? Why is every town? Why is Mom's Demand? Why is Students Demand? Why is fucking Brady Campaign? Why are fucking Giffords, any of them, allowed to have any fucking say in any General Assembly across this fucking country right now, dude? Throw these fuckers out entirely, strip them of any fucking lobbying ability they ever had, dude, and tell them to go fuck off, is what it is at this point. And I mean that seriously, dude. When you are literally trying to restrict people's constitutional rights to keep and bear arms, your ass needs to be booted the fuck out of state houses across this fucking country, dude. And it's as simple as that, honestly. Be like, nope, you're fucking done here, bitch. And that's the problem with all these Mom's Demand types, too. They're all like, I'm a volunteer for Mom's Demand action. Again, it's not volunteering while you're being paid for that position, you dumb bitch. And that's exactly what that Christina Woodworth bitch here in Ohio has fucking said many, many times when she's down at our state house and stuff like that, dude. And she's literally a fucking chapter head of Mom's Demand is what it is. She's also one of the same fucking cunts who tried to sue Ohio over district maps recently entirely in this country. And has fucked us fucked over our primaries for about the last 8 months now is what it is because of that shit. So, anyway. Where was I here now? Yeah, I was reading the Mandela Barnes story here. Go ahead and do a little screen share on this now. Yeah, it says Republicans, meanwhile, are hitting back at Barnes for his rabid support for new gun control measures and his hostility towards Second Amendment supporters, even those who have been the victim of violent crimes. Said Senator Ron Johnson's re-election campaign on Monday rolled out a new ad criticizing Wisconsin Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes for a tweet he sent out deriding Senate Majority Whip Steve Scalise after he was shot by the gunman in 2017 during practice for the congressional baseball game. In a digital ad shared first The Hill, Johnson's campaign panned Barnes, his general election opponent, for tweeting that Scalise was, quote, taking one for the team with the 2017 incident. How the fuck is this guy even still in office, dude? How in the fuck is Mandela Barnes, the stupid fucking bald asshole right there, still in fucking office as Lieutenant Governor of Wisconsin right now, dude? Oh, yeah, that's right, because he's a black Democrat. That's fucking why, dude. That's exactly what it is. It's because he's a Democrat and because he's a black dude. And oh my God, can't say anything bad about that shit, right? Fuck that guy, dude. Seriously. That is the only reason his ass isn't fucking thrown out of office right now, dude. And the same thing with bitch ass Tony Evers for that matter. Because this little fucking old fucking elf motherfucker right here with the glasses is a Democrat as well, dude. That's the only reason these fuckers haven't been tossed out of office right now, dude, entirely. And I think it's also because of the fact that Wisconsin, I want to say, doesn't have recall elections, but I could be wrong about that one. And that's the problem entirely, dude. Like, this is what I've said several times now. When it comes to 20th Amendment to the Constitution, dude, it needs to be auto DQs, and it needs to also be, like, recall abilities and stuff like that. Fucking people, dude. Because I guarantee you right now, neither one of these jackasses would be in Wisconsin's fucking would be any part of Wisconsin's general assembly / governorship area and stuff like that if they had recall ability there. And people will recall their asses from office then. So, anyway, let's see where we're at now. Yeah, it said about Barnes was talking about Scalise taking one for the team. Said Barnes coddles criminals and mocks victims, the ad narrator said, adding that Barnes isn't fit to be a senator. He's not fit to be lieutenant governor either, dude. He's not fit to be in office at all at this point, bro. Neither is Tony Evers for that matter. They both should be thrown the fuck out right now entirely, dude. And like I've said that many, many times, it's absolutely ridiculous and disgusting. I also like to point out, too, by the way, that the guy who opened fire on Steve Scalise and the rest of the Republican people at that baseball practice was a Bernie Sanders fucking communist leftist, dude, who couldn't shoot for shit. And it's the only reason that Steve Scalise is still alive to this day. Which brings us to our next story of the day from Bearing Arms here, which is left-leaning gun owners starting to see harsh reality. Yeah, it's called Stop Voting Democrat because they're trying to steal your fucking rights every day, dude. Not the Republicans are much better, but I mean, there's at least some difference depending on where you're at, dude. I'm not saying that at federal level either, by the way. I'm talking about it like state levels and stuff like that is usually where it's at. Now, granted, you can still get scumbag rhinos in the state levels, but, you know, you're more likely to be able to actually catch good people and get them into office is what it is that are going to vote for be a good, you know, representative for you or Congress or whatever it is, congressman, state senator, whatever it is, to actually represent your views is what it is, man. And you can actually contact these people on like federal seats where you can't get a hold of them ever is what it is. So, anyway. It says, issue of guns and gun ownership shouldn't be that complex. However, there's a certain degree of nuance in a lot of aspects of the topic that, frankly, a lot of people don't really want to understand. But in this day and age, a lot of people are buying guns, and they're not just your average, ordinary, right-leaning gun nut doing so. Said they're buying guns too, mind you, but they're far from the totality of customers at the gun shop. CNN, of all places, opted to talk a bit about it, in particular about the, quote, racial diversity of new gun ownership, including liberals who now have guns, and what these new gun owners face from their liberal friends. Oh my God, dude. You would be surprised how many leftists will sit there and be like, you don't need a gun. you're fine, bro. Oh my god, you have a gun? Oh, holy shit. You know, it's like shit like that really is what it is, dude. Which is funny because a lot of these same leftist douchebags that are saying that shit are the motherfuckers who, for like 8 months or so, were burning down our fucking country in every major city in this fucking nation, dude. And going out there and literally fucking causing riots in the fucking highways and shit like that and everything else like that, dude. And then tried to find the rid of rural areas and learn real quick why you don't fuck with people in the rural areas because they're going to kick the shit out of you is what it is. It's just like that one random neighborhood where it was a bunch of Antifa showing up and it was people having a birthday party for some kid and they're like, get the fuck out of our neighborhood, motherfuckers. Or it was like Bethel, Ohio, where they had, you know, people were like, yeah, you're not burning down our fucking city. Go fuck yourself, cunt. And then threw this girl out and her dumbass buddies that were all BLM people. So, yeah, it's fucking great, man. Anyway, said Negan says his clients are mostly liberal and all backgrounds, genders, and sexual orientations. He prides himself on creating an inclusive student base. Quote, the more I educate those who are formerly anti-gun, the more they actually realize that there's more nuance to it. Said both Mendez and Ronaldo now have their own guns and are working towards getting their concealed carry permits, but they avoid talking about their guns with friends who they say are firmly anti-gun. Quote, they're really not open understanding, Mendez said, adding that she feels more comfortable discussing her same-sex relationship with friends than her guns. I definitely am not closeted about. I'm definitely more closeted being a gun owner for fear of retaliation. That's what's fucking sad, dude. So you have a chick who is a lesbian who is perfectly fine with being like, oh yeah, here's lesbian, you know, talking points or whatever the case be with friends. But I can't tell them I'm a gun owner because they'd freak the fuck out and try to retaliate against me. It's so fucked up, man. It's so fucked up. And that's what I'm saying, bro. And I've even talked to people in the past that were part of like the Pink Pistols organization and stuff like that, dude, who they had to leave fucking chapters because they were talking about some random stuff on the thing. And it was like, you know, gun related shit like that's what it was, dude, on their like Facebook pages or whatever it was. And people freaked the fuck out of them and were like, oh, you're some right-wing fucking nutter or whatever the case be. And they're like, no, I'm not, dude. I'm just telling you a story of like, this is why you need to carry a gun kind of thing. And yeah, it was a bunch of hardcore leftist people that apparently infiltrated that group is what it was. And we're like, get the fuck out of here, bro. You're not part of us anymore. And the guy's like, fuck you, dude. And the funny thing was, the dude who was being railroaded on and shit like that was a fucking moderator for that group, dude. He was one of the head people. And it was all the little nutcases that fucking like drove him out of there. And he's like, fuck these people now. And I don't disagree with it, honestly, dude, because again, it's one of those situations where, yeah, you don't know what you're dealing with sometimes, dude, is what it is. Anyway, trying to figure out who wrote this now. Oh, it's Tom Knight article again. Okay. Yeah, Knighton said, but of course, we know they'll get hate for being at the gun range, right? Those are, quote, right-wing xenophobic bastions of all that is wrong with America, or so some of the left likely think. What did they find? Something different entirely. Said both Mendez and Ronaldo, at first worried about the type of people they'd encounter at gun ranges, many of whom they say advertise their conservative politics in what they're wearing or listening to. Quote, it's mostly all men, mostly all white men, older men like 70s, 80s, Mendez said. Seeing people looking at us and kind of just staring, it always makes us more uncomfortable because we're like, oh my God, they are going to come and tell us, like, get out of here, you don't belong here. Instead, they got a totally different reaction. They're like, hey, you're doing well, but I can show you something that might help you more, Mendez said. Mendez says not only has it changed her impression of those individuals, but she also believes it's given some a different perspective of people like her. Quote, when I came back the next day, one of the men was like, hey, I saw your wife out there. She looks nice. Tell her I said hey. That's funny. See, that's the thing, though. And that's what I'm saying, dude. And this is the problem with our society in a nutshell, honestly, dude. In a lot of cases, is the fact you have people who they refuse to have conversations. You know, it's the political division of this country, and it all goes back to Obama's administration. Honestly, dude, it was Obama basically pushing that fucking racial division shit and the sexual division and stuff like that as well of people. In reality, it's like, nah, bro. Like, you want to come here and fucking shoot guns? Cool. What kind of gun you got? Would you like to shoot each other's guns? Kind of thing in a lot of cases. Because that's my thing, honestly. Like, I'd rather do that shit, honestly. I'd be like, oh, what kind of gun you carry and stuff like that. And then if somebody had like something else or whatever the case be, it'd be like, hey, I'll let you shoot mine if you let me shoot yours, kind of thing. So, but anyway. Let's see. Say here, he said, now, here's the thing. Mendez is a Hispanic lesbian in the same-sex marriage. She's everything that's been told that the gun-toting crowd absolutely hates and would herd into camps if given the opportunity, and yet these folks are being as nice as they can be, offering assistance and doing it in a way not condescending, being friendly, fostering friendships and with fellow gun owners. Said over at the National Review, Charles C.W. Cook offered his thoughts on the piece. Said, this has long been my experience since I moved to America. I've shot at ranges in 20 or so states, and everyone at each of them has always got on fine. The idea of non-white Americans are only just getting into shooting is a little bit of an overstatement. When I lived in Connecticut, I was a minority at a range at which I used to practice, but it is undoubtedly true that gun ownership has grown increasingly racially diverse, and that anti-gun progressives are annoyed by this. Yeah, they are. Of course they are, dude. That's the thing. If you look at most gun ownership since 2020, stuff like that, dude, who's been the biggest fucking number of people? It's been black women. And it's mostly black women and fucking shithole neighborhoods is what it is, and they're buying guns to protect themselves and their kids is what it is, dude. Hell, I remember when I was at a gun shop a few years ago. This was like pre-2020. It was back in, I think, the end of 2019, actually. And it was, I had gone in there to get, I forget what I was buying at the time. If I was buying, I don't remember if I was buying a gun or if I was just looking at some guns and trying to get like some prices and stuff like that and whatnot to see if I could, afford to get something at the time. And I think maybe I bought some ammo that day too, is what it was. And I noticed there was this woman. It was a woman, or no, sorry, it was two women and a guy at the counter. It was two black ladies and a black dude, and they were talking about I forget if it was a revolver that she was looking at or if it was like a small semi-auto at the time, like a Ruger LCP or something like that. And she was discussing, she's like, yeah, I'm a nurse and I just want something to carry because there's been, a lot of assaults close to the hospital I work at and stuff like that. And I just looked over at him like, good for you. I was like, good for you. Nice to see a fellow, new gun owner and stuff like that. Because at the time, I'd only been a gun owner for a couple years at the time. And yeah, it was nice to see, people understanding that they need to take their responsibility in their hands is what it is, dude, in case something does happen. And her thing was like, she just wanted something small to conceal in like a purse or something is what it was, dude. So anyway. But as I said here, it said, where are we at now? It said, for years, gun control activists have suggested that all it would take for them to get the strict regulations they covet is for blacks, Muslims, Hispanics to start buying guns. And for years, this has been nothing more than projection. As CNN story illustrates, it's not Second Amendment advocates who have an issue with non-white gun owners. It's the people who claim most loudly to champion diversity, but balk the minute the diversity leads to a political or ideological outcome that they personally happen to dislike. Exactly, and that's what I said, months ago. That's what I said 6 months ago when this channel was under a different name, was about the whole thing about, it's these people, these fucking, leftist people, these usually chicks is what it is, usually women in fucking teaching positions and stuff like that is what it ends up being, dude, that want to push the whole, like, diversity and inclusivity crap, and then they'll sit there, like, the second after that and be like, no, but you can't do this thing or whatever the case be, or they'll bitch and moan about, like, oh, we're not actually trying to groom kids, and then meanwhile they're pushing, like, actual shit to groom kids is what it is, dude. It's just fucked up, bro. And that's exactly why I won't date leftist women ever in this country, dude. Because, and I've talked to people about this actually over the weekend about it, dude. And I was like, yeah, there's a reason why I don't date leftist chicks, and it's because our political views don't align, is what it is, man. And a couple of them were even saying how their, wives or girlfriends, whatever, used to be kind of lefties and stuff like that, and they sort of were able over time to, wear them down to the point that they've come around and stuff like that. And my thing is, I'm already 37 years old. I don't got time for that shit, bro. Like, that's what my thing is, And my thing, too, is it's like, okay, like, say I meet a girl who's in, like, her, like, 20s, 30s, whatever the case be, and want to have children with that person or something, dude. Like, you're talking about, her biological clock is ticking and stuff like that if we're going to have actual biological children together. And it's a whole thing there where it's like, yeah, how much time is it going to take me to wear her down to the point where she would be pro-life or pro-2A or whatever the case be, or both for that matter. And it's like, yeah, to me, it's not worth it. It's not worth the time and investment and stuff like that when there are perfectly good other women out there who are already, either in the middle or closer to where I'm at politically and would actually be wanting to have relationships and have kids and have a family and, be pro 2A and maybe take the kids shooting in a few years or whatever the case be when they're old enough to be able to learn how to handle firearms safely and stuff like that. So, yeah, it is what it is, man. But anyway, as Knighton said here exactly, Second Amendment is for everybody. So when Trump was elected, everybody was panicking about the horror stories in their head coming true. So Knighton said, I told plenty of people to go out and buy a gun. A lot of folks did, and they were from all different groups of people. We were told would make the GOP start supporting gun control. They didn't. Truth of the matter here is that more gun ownership is ultimately good. However, we also see the animosity towards gun ownership isn't purely because most gun owners have different political views. Anti-gunners have no interest in a live and let live approach of any gun owner is what it is. Yeah, so that's the truth at the end of the day, dude. And that's the problem. Again, that's the problem with Michael Bloomberg, dude. You look at Michael Bloomberg, actually, specifically Michael Bloomberg, he is one of the most racist motherfuckers on earth, dude, legitimately. Like, that dude is from a time period, I believe he was born not long after Hitler's regime, dude, is what it was. And you're talking about a guy who was sued over stop and frisk there in fucking New York City when he was mayor and stuff like that, dude, because it was a racist fucking policy. It was literally targeting minorities only is what it was, dude. And that's the problem entirely, dude. Like, no, if you're going to sit there and stop and frisk, dude, it needs to be across the fucking board is what it is, bro. So, ironically enough, there's a lot of black people, and I was doing the video the other day where they were talking about the Pennsylvania one, and like, I forget if it was Pittsburgh or Philly that we were talking about in that story there, but it was a little news clip there, and it was some old black dude in that talking about they need to bring back stop and frisk in Philadelphia area, dude, to stop a bunch of these fucking young guys gangbanging and shit, dude. And that's the problem with the whole defund the police movement stuff. You had this little fringe fucking BLM Antifa fucking group backed by all these corporations and stuff like that, dude, that were all about defunding the cops then. And then you got people out there fucking, doing all kinds of crazy shit now. And people wonder why it's a bunch of fucking nut job bullshit, dude, entirely. Which leads us to our next story of the day, if I can find it here real quick. Yeah, there's a few I wanted to focus on here. Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah, speaking of Pennsylvania, we're going to talk about that piece of shit, John Fetterman, now. So, you got John Fuckstick Fetterman going out there and being all like, let's end filibuster to push gun ban through. Like, seriously, again, how is this motherfucker even allowed to run for office at this point, dude? Even allowed to still hold the lieutenant governorship in Pennsylvania? That heart attack or stroke, whatever it was he had a while ago, dude, should have been the end of his fucking career entirely, dude, because of health problems. And that's another thing I've talked about in the 20th Amendment as well, like health issues, mental decline, stuff like that should be, no, you're done here, bro. Get the fuck out. Anyway, it said Senate candidate John Fetterman wants to end the filibuster so Democrats can push through a gun ban on quote-unquote assault weapons. Tell me what an assault weapon is there, Fetterman, when we can talk, actually. Oh, yeah, that's right, you can't, because it never fucking existed, you jackass. What you fucking dumbasses wanted was you wanted to create some shit back in 1992 or so that you then pushed in the 1994 AWB which was a lot of cosmetic features on firearms, and a lot of those firearms just happen to be stuff like ARs, AKs, etc., etc. And it was interesting, though, because back in that time period, stuff like Tech 9s were not on that list. And shocker, what did the Columbine killer use, or one of the Columbine killers use? It was a Tech 9. The other guy used a shotgun and some other stuff. And there was also a bunch of murder going on then, dude. Even when the fucking assault was being in place there, you had a bunch of school shootings back then. Columbine was the most well known at the time. You also had a big one in 1998, which the one guy who was a teacher at the time, ironically enough, there was a movie that came out that was based on a real life story. The girl who played the lead in it was Ellen Page, and I believe it was, I can't remember what the one chick's name is, but she was the one from the 40-year-old virgin that played the chick that the main lead guy was into, Steve Carell's character. She was the mother of the family that this girl was living with or whatever. And it was basically in the 1960s, this chick and her family beat this girl to death, is what it was. The girl's name was like Sylvia something or other, if I'm not mistaken, like Grotowski or Gerlonsky or something like that. And what's interesting was the guy who was the teacher at that school in 1998 that was talking about these kids these days and like essentially like trying to push for gun control and stuff like that was one of the kids that helped murder that fucking girl. And the guy became a teacher later on. And it's like, again, why don't we have better screening processes for teachers in this country, dude? When you have a guy who was literally like 10, 12 years old and helped murder a chick in the fucking 60s, 70s, dude, and was able to become a teacher then in the 1990s. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, bro. Fucking insane. Anyway, it said Fetterman's gun control positions were in the spotlight over the weekend after September 30th, Fox News mention of his reference to NRA members being lunatic fringe of gun ownership. It's funny to me that they always attack the NRA. That the NRA is a supposedly like big boogeyman and stuff for them. It's like, dude, the NRA is the biggest shit show fucking shill company ever when it comes to gun ownership in this country, dude. There's a handful of people I know that are mostly my 2A cousins is what it is, dude. That are basically pro-gun, but not really pro-2A is what it is. That have been NRA members in the past or, you know, lifetime membership or whatever it is now. None of them really support the NRA is what it is, though, dude. They're just like, yeah, they're doing whatever there. And the thing is with the NRA, and this is one thing that pisses me off about a lot of local gun shows is what it is, dude, is every time there's a gun show in this area, it's like, oh, you know, you can pay a door fee or whatever to get in here, but it's like, you can also just join the NRA or renew your membership and you can get like basically free entry is what it is. And it's like, why the fuck would I want to join that shit show fucking organization, dude? No, give me another option. Give me GOA, give me FPC, give me anything else, dude. Hell, partner with me as Ohioans for Firearms Freedom, put some money into my fucking coffers, and have people actually get into a statewide organization is what it is, dude, that actually gives a fuck about their constitutional rights and will do what we need to get things passed, just like we helped get past constitutional carry this year. Same thing with the Ohio Patriot Education Network before it existed. You know, before it was an actual named organization, there was the beginnings of that helped get constitutional carry in the state of Ohio. So, anyway. Moving on here, though, said Fox News noted that Fetterman made comments in April 2022 saying, quote, "I'm not afraid of anything, and certainly not the NRA. And let me be clear, the NRA does not represent the overwhelming majority of what gun owners really believe and want." You're right about that, Fetterman. We don't support the NRA's cuckery and fuckery, where the NRA was literally behind, and I mean this legitimately, dude, the 1986 Hughes Amendment that stopped Americans from having full auto ever again. And yet, meanwhile, at the same time, the bitch-ass motherfuckers like Wayne LaPierre in the NRA were going out and buying every Tommy gun and every full auto that they could get their damn hands on, their little money-grubbing hands on, that as soon as the Hughes Amendment went into place after that, dude, bang, over fucking night, you had every single one of those guns basically quintuple in value. And not to mention as well, if you look back in even more history back in the day, the National Firearms Act 1934, dude, the NRA, when they were in their infancy back then, were part of that bullshit too. So they have fucked us twice in the same century. That's why the NRA can go fuck themselves, dude. And they continue to fuck us over. And then they want to sit here at a state level and try to take fucking credit for Ohio's constitutional carry and everything else like that, dude. When they didn't do a fucking thing to actually get it through, didn't do a goddamn thing, any fucking point in it at all, until it was finally going to floor votes after people like me were on the fucking phone with every single state rep across the fucking board for a year and a half of our lives doing the fucking legwork for these fucking piece of shit fucking shills. And then these assholes want to come in while we're like one step away from fucking victory and be like, no, but we need to add Terry stops into this, dude. We can't let it go clean. We got to add the Terry stops in. And they fucking did. And it's a bunch of shit, dude. And that's why the Americans go fuck themselves all over the fucking board entirely, dude. And fuck Fetterman too on that one, dude. Seriously. Fuck them all. Fuck them all, dude. Anyway. And yeah, Fetterman's right. We don't want what the NRA wants, dude. Americans want actual fucking freedoms. People like me, Ohio Patriot Education Network, we, the network, not just me, but everybody in the network, wants actual fucking freedom. We want full auto. We want the ability to actually have what our fucking founders always intended in this country, which is everything across the board. Suppressors, full auto, all of it, dude. Hell, I would even go as far as to say, let's have some fucking hand grenades, baby. Because when it comes to the right to keep and bear arms, dude, it's not just fucking firearms. It's everything the fucking government should have, which means that we, the people, should have access to grenades, RPGs, planes, tanks, everything across the board. Anyway, said in July, dipshit Fetterman voiced gun control support that was more pointed, calling for a quote assault weapons ban in response to the July 4, 2022 attack on Highland Park Independence Day Parade. Mind you, that fucking kid that did that should have been in jail since 2019 on red flag laws, which Illinois has. I don't support them, but again, they had them and they could have used them on that fucking kid and they could have stopped the massacre 3 years in the past. Said days later, WCCS reported that Fetterman called for a filibuster to be ended so Democrats could push, quote, an assault weapons ban through the Senate, as well as ban on high-capacity magazines. Standard capacity magazines are not high-capacity, dipshit. 30 rounds is standard. Hell, I could go as far as to say a 100-round drum in some cases could be standard. You know? Seriously. I know there's some guns that are like shotguns and stuff like that. They have like drums for and stuff. I'm not sure exactly which ones offhand. I can't think of any per se. I want to say maybe it's like the VR80 maybe. I'm thinking there's a drum made for that by like Magpul or something, which has like 10, 20 rounds in it, whatever it is. I'm actually surprised that going on that, semi-auto, like mag shotgun kind of thing there. I'm actually surprised that when it comes to those, 9, 19 round mags and stuff like that there hasn't been a company that's figured out a way to make like a double stack shotgun mag. That'd be interesting to see that shit. Where it would be like, you could basically load the shotgun shells into it instead of being like a single stack shotgun shell in there. It would be like a staggered kind of thing, and it would be like, here, and it would almost be like a bigger AR mag essentially, where you would have like the main body would fit into the mag well or whatever, and then it would be like a slightly longer one, like those the 60 round ones that I forget what company sells them for ARs and stuff like that, but it's basically, it looks like an AR mag, but it's like a little bit thicker on the outside and stuff because it goes to a certain point after the mag well, and then it like sort of feeds out a little bit, so you can basically like, it's either double stack them or like tri stack them or something like that in there somehow. And that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, that's what they should do with these shotgun mags. Somebody should figure out a way to make that thing a thing. I think maybe it's a spring issue is the reason they don't do it. Like, that'd be my only guess, honestly, maybe. Or maybe somebody has tried it and they just can't figure out like the logistics of how to make it feed continuously and stuff like that, to where there's not going to be feeding issues with it. And that could be a thing as well. So again, I'm just spitballing right now, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see something like that happen, though. If there was an ability to make that happen or not, I don't know. But anyway, continuing on with this, though, it said Fetterman's gun control aspirations also include getting rid of the filibuster so Democrats can secure universal background checks on gun sales, which, by the way, is of itself unconstitutional as fuck because of several reasons. The first one being, we are not allowing the government to ever create a gun roster in this fucking country or any kind of registry, dude. Something that they are already trying to do, or maybe even already have done in the background things of the fucking ATF and stuff like that, dude. And that's why you have the ATF fucking around all the time now and trying to overskirt their fucking bounds as an actual, 3-letter alphabet agency is what it is. And being like, oh no, we need to have fucking gun shops keep all records forever instead of after 20 years you can basically get rid of them. Shit is what it is, dude. Which I would say it should be less than that even. It should be like, hey, if this gun ain't been done, have a crime on it or whatever for the last 10 years and shit, dude, yeah, fuck you. Shred that shit through a fucking shredder and then burn the fucking shit to ashes is what it is after the fact, dude. So you can never find the fucking shit there. Anyway, says United States has had FBI run NICS system in place for retail gun sales since 1998. Said when Democrats push universal background checks, they are pushing to expand retail checks so as to mandate checks on private gun sales as well. Yeah, exactly. They want to know every single gun that every American has, dude. And it's exactly why I became a Second Amendment advocate, activist, constitutionalist back in 2019 for real, when you had 3 days after Dayton massacre here, every single fucking piece of shit bought and paid for Bloomberg fucking shield Democrat in the state of Ohio's General Assembly tried to push for red flag laws, universal background checks, and mag bans. And ever since then, you've now had rhino sacks of shit like Matt Dolan continue to try to push some fucking bullshit gun roster thing and some crap he's pushed recently here with Senate Bill 357 in Ohio. And don't think we don't know about you, Dolan, and don't know that there's a fucking obviously whole thing there where you waited just enough time to make sure it was a gun caliber that you pushed the bill number as, you fucking dick-sucking piece of shit, motherfucking scumbag, asshole, elitist douchebag whose family owns the Cleveland Indians. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. What do they call themselves now? The Guardians? Fucking dumbass, retarded name change. Stupid ass fucking cancel culture bullshit. By the way, this asshole Matt Dolan is a fucking Democrat. 100%, dude. The motherfucker ran as a Democrat in 2014, lost, came back in 2016, ran under the whole like Trump mantra is what it was, and was like, I'm a fucking Republican now. And a bunch of dumbasses voted him into office is what it was. And they did the same thing in 2020 with his re-election campaign. And by the way, when Matt Dolan was trying to run for the U.S. Senate in the primary against J.D. Vance about 6 months ago, he should have been tossed the fuck out of office back then, dude, because he was trying to run for a higher office then. And that's exactly what I was talking to my state rep about like 3 weeks ago. I'm like, dude. And the guy didn't get it. He's like, oh, yeah, if I run for another office, I can't, run for this one again or whatever the case be. It's like, the whole point is, if you're running in a different fucking thing while you're still holding power, if you're like a fucking midterm person or whatever, dude, where you're not going to be voted out in the midterms and shit like that, if you're a state senator who's got a couple years left on your fucking limit for your term and stuff like that, dude, no. They should be booted the fuck out entirely. Or it's the same thing with that bitch Allison Russo when she tried to run for a special election for Congress last year against Mike Carey. And she fucking lost hard, dude, because nobody wanted her fucking cunt ass there. And the only reason she's a fucking state rep right now in the state of Ohio is because she lives in one of the most Democrat fucking shithole areas of Columbus. It's also a rich-ass white neighborhood, by the way. That are all a bunch of fucking retards who want to sit there and bitch about, again, diversity and inclusiveness bullshit, and yet I'll sit there and be like, we don't want minorities in our neighborhoods. No, we got to keep the cops around here all the fucking time, so they'll do literal fucking having police roll the fucking block every 5 minutes is what it is, dude. I know that for a fact, because I've been down to Upper Arlington area, dude. And you can drive around and there's cops fucking everywhere every 5 to 10 minutes. So anyway, continuing back on though, where we're at now. We're talking about universal background checks. Said more effectively criminalizing private sales between neighbors, longtime coworkers, and acquaintances. Unless the buyer undergoes a background check by the FBI, ironically, high-profile mass shooters rarely acquire guns privately. Rather, they almost always go through a background check at a retail point. Said here is a short list of examples of high-profile shooters in the past 15 years who acquired guns through retail via background check. Uvalde, May 2014. Top Supermarket, May 2014. Indianapolis FedEx shooter, April 2021. Yeah, sorry, it was May 2022, April 2021. Atlanta area shooter, March of 2021. Parkland, 2018. Texas church shooter, 2017. Las Vegas. There's a lot of things about Las Vegas that don't add up. Alexandria shooter, also 2017. Orlando shooter, 2016. UCLA gunman, 2016. San Bernardino, which, by the way, was Islam. That was in 2015. Colorado Springs, 2015. Perry Community College attacker, 2015. Allison Parker, attacker. I believe that was a news reporter woman that was killed in 2015. Lafayette movie theater attacker, 2015. Chattahoochee attacker, 2015. Emmanuel African Baptist Episcopalian attacker, 2015. Mohammed Cartoon Contest attackers, 2014. Vegas cop killers, 2015. I think that guy actually, the guy that was the Vegas cop killer there, if I want to say that was the same thing I'm thinking about. That dude, if it was the Joker Hood guy I'm thinking it was, that dude actually showed up at the Bundy Ranch years ago, which is pretty interesting. So we got Santa Barbara attacker 2014, Fort Hood 2014. You know what's funny to me though? You look at all these, right? You look at almost all these right now across the board here, dude. And you might as well say U.S. government activated MK Ultra agent down the fucking line, dude, because like at least half of these or more fall directly to that, especially Uvalde more recently, dude, and especially Tops, who had a fucking FBI handler. And the guy who did Uvalde was most likely a kid who talked about in 2018 going and committing a fucking massacre Columbine style in 2022, dude, is what it was. So that means that the fucking feds had 4 years to stop this motherfucker, but instead they're like, no, let's give this kid the money and make sure he gets in there is what it is, dude. Fucking ridiculous, dude. Not to mention, yeah, the cops wait, what was it, an hour and a half to go in there and do anything about it? Fucking disgusting, dude, entirely. But yeah, fuck John Fetterman for real. And then, speaking of dickhead Fetterman, we got another article we're going to talk about this ass wipe now, which is... See if I can pull it up here real quick, make sure it actually comes up before I talk about it here. Democrat John Fetterman wants to ban ownership of rifles, not just sale. Of course he fucking does. This meathead motherfucker, dude. By the way, that tattoo on his forearm has now been covered over because it said some shit about like, or no, sorry, it's the other one. It's his left arm, or no, right arm there. That has the big ass ink blotch there. Because it was talking about like killing or something, and that's what it was, dude. But anyway, it said Pennsylvania Senate candidate and current Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman stated twice in 2022 he supports banning the ownership of rifles. Videos unearthed from the RNC and shared exclusively with Breitbart News said Fetterman's call to ban the ownership of rifles is striking because the policy statement is a step further than simply banning the sale of rifles, which he has also supported through ending the filibuster. Quote, I've always supported a ban on assault rifle ownership, Fetterman stated in April 11th, 2022. We should not have weapons of war in the hands of civilians. So, two things, dickhead. Number one, there is no such thing as an assault rifle, you fucking ass clown John Fetterman. Number two, ARs are not weapons of war, you fucking dickless turd burglar. If you want to talk about actual weapons of war, bro, let's talk about the M1 Grand that is sold everywhere in every single state across this country and actually was a weapon of fucking war because it was used in World War II and other conflicts around that time, dude. You know, various other wars and stuff like that is what it was. You know, hell, you could talk, like, if you want to, what's funny to me is they want to talk about these quote-unquote black scary rifles as if they're, like, somehow weapons of war and shit like that, dude, when in reality, for an AR-15 to be such a thing, number one, it would have to be an M4, which has either a full auto or a 3-round burst fun switch on it, and number two, would have had to actually see combat in a fucking war. So, you know, and the fact neither one of those is a thing with ARs, dude. They're made in a factory in the United States and they're sold to people in the United States is what it is most of the time, dude. And same thing with AKs and everything else like that, dude. It's either made in a factory in the US or it's made overseas and imported into the US is what it is, man. So anyway, you got pedophile Seth MacFarlane on Family Guy lampooning MAGA country Republicans. Fuck that fucking guy, dude. Fuck him and fuck Seth Green, too, by the way. Both those guys are hardcore child molesters. Seth Green was outed by Isaac Cappy years ago. And, yeah, Cappy then was killed in a bridge. He was tossed off a bridge in either Arizona or New Mexico. I keep forgetting which state it was in. It was one of those two, though. But anyway, let's see. Where we're at now. Yeah, we're talking about Fetterman supporting banning stuff. Dipshit Fetterman was quoted as saying, quote, "I have seen with my own eyes at the scenes of my community what a military-grade round does to the human body, and we have no need for civilians to own these kind of weapons." Fuck you, dude. Fuck you, you fucking meathead motherfucker. Like, seriously. So, at the same event, exclusive video shows Fetterman wants to eliminate the filibuster to ban open carry laws. Quote, "The truth is, if a state that you're in has open carry laws, there's nothing that you, a senator, can do directly. That's the truth," he claimed. "Some of these states have open carry laws, and it's perfectly legal, and a United States senator can't directly intervene and change that. Nor should they be able to, you totalitarian, authoritarian fuckboy." And that's the entire point, dude. Fetterman is a fucking cunt entirely, dude. Like, this dude is one of the biggest oath-breaking sacks of shit in U.S. history, dude. Fuck him. Seriously, dude. Anyway. Continuing on with Fetterman's bullshit, he said, quote, But what we can do is eliminate the filibuster and pass comprehensive gun reform legislation federally that supersedes and eliminates the option to have open carry. No, you can't, asshole, because here's another thing, dickhead, that nobody ever fucking talks about with Congress or Senate and stuff like that, dude. You have no legal authority to fucking attack the U.S. Constitution, dickheads. There's a little thing in the Second Amendment called shall not be infringed, bro. Every single gun law on the fucking books that is a directly attack on the Second Amendment is unconstitutional and should be looked at as it was never written under Marbury versus Madison of 1803. And it's as simple as that, really. And the fact the fucking Supreme Court is such a bunch of fucking douchebags right now and refuse to take up 2A cases and just do like a 10 slot of cases across the fucking board where it hits like everything and then some, whether it be bump stocks or whether it be, various other stuff like that with the Bruin case and shit, which, they've done that, but obviously they haven't done enough there because, you still have New York and fucking California, other shithole states like that. They're all Democrat run. That are now trying to sit there and push more fucking laws on the books is what it is, dude. I'd also like to point out, by the way, Pennsylvania General Assembly actually passed constitutional carry in the past 2 years. That fucking piece of shit, baby-killing, crimes against humanity, sack of fucking shit Tom Wolf, who's the current governor there, vetoed it, and the people in the General Assembly, because there's like 200 fucking members there, because you have like 100-something fucking people from the two Democrat shitholes of Pittsburgh and Philly, refused to override the fucking veto. Pennsylvania should be a constitutional carry state right now, dude. And of course, during that time, during asshole fucking Wolf's administration with dickhead Fetterman as his idiot fucking lieutenant governor, you had Tom Wolf create all kinds of other anti-gun legislation there, where he basically put some emergency power thing into place forever now, for the last like 7 years or some shit, to where unless you have a concealed carry license, you can't even legally open carry in the state, which is absolute bullshit and totally unconstitutional, by the way. And here's another thing too, by the way, dude, is that there's a little thing in our Constitution called the 10th Amendment for states' rights, buddy. And yes, states' rights do supersede federal, asshole Fetterman. And I'd see your motherfucking ass in court if you do happen to pull this shit, bitch. Because I'll personally sue you, John Fetterman, but I don't think you're going to make it in there, dude. I think you're going to have that other asswipe rhino sack of shit carpet bagging fucker, Dr. Oz, actually take the fucking shit is what it's going to be, dude. Now, granted, both y'all should be tossed out of this fucking race entirely, dude, and there should be 2 new people. Actually, there should be about 10 new people in this fucking race for U.S. Senate. There shouldn't be just a Democrat and a fucking Republican in there, dude. It should be every single person across the board. Libertarian, Green Party, Constitutional Party, Independents, everything like that, dude. So, anyway. Where are we at now? Yeah, so it is not the first time that radical Democrat has advocated for greatly diminishing the right to keep and bear arms. In October 9th video, Fetterman admitted he wanted to eliminate the filibuster to ban the ownership of rifles. Quote, "That's one of the main reasons why I call for the elimination filibuster. 80 to 90% of Americans support the elimination." No, we don't, you fucking lying prick. said, excuse me, banning assault rifle ownership and common sense gun legislation. You know, I love this fucking 80 to 90% bullshit that they keep coming out with, dude. Like, whose asshole are you pulling those fucking numbers out of, dude? Is it directly out of Michael Bloomberg or Shannon Watts' assholes at this point, dude? Because I think that's what it is, honestly, at this point, dude. Oh, wait, no, that's right. You were going to every leftist sack of shit fucking Karen cunt in this fucking country that is a Moms Demand Action, Students Demand Action member, and you're doing fucking polls with them, you know, few hundred people or whatever, and being like, oh, you guys support banning fucking assault weapons and shit, right? Yep, Okay, cool, we got our 80 or 90% thing now. And that's these fucking numbers they keep pushing, by the way. That's exactly where this shit comes from, dude. That's why polls are fucking bullshit, dude. Because it's always like a few hundred to a few thousand people at most, and then they want to sit there and talk about 80 or 90% of Americans support this shit. No, 80 or 90% of the couple hundred fucking idiot retarded morons who shouldn't have voting rights in this country that you personally fucking polled support your dumbass fucking retarded nonsense, buddy. That is totally unconstitutional and is nothing more than a bunch of democidal fucking maniac, Hitlerian fucking Stalin, Mao, Pol Pot bullshit that's going to happen in the fucking future with a goddamn future dictator like a fucking David Hogg or a Maxwell Frost or something else like that, dude. And I mean that seriously. I mean, hell, you got people talking about Hogg in 2032 now. And we got fucking Hogg's little buddy, fucking Maxwell Frost, is probably going to be a congressman by the end of the fucking year, dude. And you can't tell me either one of these fucking asswipe communist fucking children like that are not going to be a future dictator, bro. They 100% are. Just like fucking Fetterman, dude. I could totally see dictator fucking Fetterman being in power, dude. And him just being some genocidal fucking democidal maniac is what it is, dude. Just killing Americans left and right in fucking death camps and shit, dude. Anyway, continuing on with this, though. There's a picture of asswipe Oz, too. Oz could also be one of those people, by the way, as well. I'll say that like it is, bro. Anyway, it said, Fetterman has not always wanted to ban the ownership of sale of rifles. In 2008, when he was a member of the former Obama administration's Pennsylvania Sportsmen and Sportswomen for Obama Steering Committee, Fetterman attacked two-time failed presidential candidate Hillary Clinton for not showing enough support of gun owners' right to own rifles. Said Fetterman's dramatic change in Second Amendment policy is notable because he is in a heated campaign with Republican Senate candidate Mehmet Oz. Polling shows the race is tight, with Fetterman slightly leading. I don't believe that fucking poll for a goddamn second, dude. So Fetterman's most recent gun policy position also appears ironic. In August, a PAC supporting Oz aired an ad slamming Fetterman for pulling a gun should be on a black jogger the Democrat apparently believed was committing a crime. Quote, I believe I did the right thing, but I may have broken the law during the course of it, Fetterman recounted in the incident ad. So Fetterman later said he believed pulling a gun was necessary preventable measure to prevent further crime until the police could arrive on the scene. Quote, so I made the decision at the time to intervene to stop him from going any further till first responders could arrive, Fetterman concluded. So really what we're saying is John Fetterman is an asshole, dickless fucking coward piece of shit. Total hypocrite asswipe is what it is, dude. Yeah, fuck this fucking guy, dude. And that's the problem with the Shannon Watts types of the fucking America and Bloombergs and Alyssa Milano's and shit like that, dude. They'll sit there and fuck over your right to own guns, but yet they'll be like, oh, I totally carry guns myself, or I have armed security with me 24/7, 365. That you peons can't fucking afford is what it is, dude. Yeah, fuck these fucking people, dude. Fuck these rich elitist motherfuckers like that, dude. Entirely. Fuck them all and let God sort them out, dude, for real. Speaking of other races, we're going to talk about Bilderberg for a minute, actually, with Peter Thiel, which, you know, I've talked about this guy before. That's one of my only problems with JD Vance right now, is he has ties to Peter Thiel, and Peter Thiel has ties to Bilderberg. The big thing is, though, and this is something I've realized over the last few years now, I think there really is two different Bilderberg groups is what it is, man. You have the main one that's the Soros, Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Royal Family, all that stuff like that are the heads of these fucking thing that are like this small cabal doing all kinds of like crazy shit, dude. You may remember in the Marvel Comics when they had, it was like the Illuminati or whatever there. And it was Professor X and Reed Richards and some other people there. Like, I think Tony Stark was one of them or something at the time. And it was basically like these 5 or 6 guys that were coming together and have like talks in the Marvel Universe is what it was about different things, dude. And they called themselves Illuminati and shit like that. I think that's kind of what Bilderberg is in that case, where it's like these smaller families like your Soroses, your Rothschilds, Rockefeller, stuff like that. Is like that main one where they have like their own like private room at the meetings and shit like that. And they'll discuss, the crazy shit is what it is. And they're trying to do to destroy humanity and stuff like that. And then you have like the main meeting, which is where like Peter Thiel and people are at, which is basically the kids' table shit that don't know anything about that, smaller meeting is what it is. So I could be totally wrong, but I definitely think there's like 2 different sides of the thing. I don't think Peter Thiel's a good guy though. I'm gonna say it like that right now. I think he's a piece of shit is what it is, dude. Now, granted, I know for a fact that JD Vance only got his start because basically Peter Thiel gave him a job is what it was. And I think that's why he's had contacts with him since then is what it ends up being then. So, but anyway, moving on to what we're going to talk about with this whole thing, which is the first Breitbart article of the day, which would be report Peter Thiel to focus on Arizona Senate race as Ohio's JD Vance is well positioned. And there's a picture of Peter Thiel right there. Said, venture capitalist and GOP mega donor Peter Thiel has reportedly indicated that he will focus on helping Arizona Republican Blake Masters in his campaign's final days, as he believes Republican J.D. Vance is well positioned to win Ohio. So, according to CNBC's Brian Schwartz, Thiel, who has spent his time helping Masters and Vance, has indicated to his deep-pocketed political network that he is mostly done helping the Ohio Republican and will focus on Arizona and beating Democrat Senator Mark Kelly. By the way, speaking of people who should have never been into office ever in this country, Mark Kelly is at the top of the fucking list, dude, because Mark Kelly tried to commit a fucking federal felony of a straw purchase like a decade ago right after his fucking wife's thing while he was trying to go into a gun shop and buy a gun specifically to go fucking give to the cops then. And the guy told him to fuck off is what it was, dude. And right then and there, Mark Kelly should have been a fucking felon, should have been arrested and convicted for fucking felony shit, dude. I'm trying to commit a straw purchase. Should have never been allowed to run for elected office in this country ever, dude, is what it is. I can't go into a lot of detail about other things with Mark Kelly and his possibility of even being legally in office right now because of things, but we'll leave it at that with the 2,000 Mules. Watch it and you'll find what I'm talking about, dude. So, anyway, said, it said at a recent fundraiser in LA home for Masters, the GOP mega donor reportedly told people that he believes Vance is on track to win Ohio's open Senate seat, which is currently held by retiring Republican rhino sack of shit Rob Portman, who, by the way, Portman's bitch ass was then able to still vote through unconstitutional tyranny is what it was, dude, in the form of gun control. We're actually going to talk about this story, too, by the way, the fisherman caught here, because that's an Ohio story I want to discuss as well on that one, dude. These guys should be in jail, by the way, for decades to come for felony charges, dude. Anyway, said Schwartz wrote that according to a person familiar with Thiel's conversation at the event, person said, Peter said that race, Ohio Senate, is done in his mind. The same person noted that he also said, we have to go get Blake over the finish line now. Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe. So I feel like Peter Thiel and JD Vance are part owners of Rumble too, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like they both invested in that shit as venture capitalists, but I could be wrong about that one. Like I think that's another tie they have with each other. So anyway, we are going to talk about that Ohio story with the fishing stuff though in a minute here. But before we do that, we're going to go to relating to Arizona now that we're on the Arizona thing here. We got the following story, and this is another reason to always be armed, by the way. And especially don't use Tinder and other fucking hookup apps to go on dates, dude. Police. Man robbed of $3,000 on Tinder date by armed couple, Phoenix man. Said a Phoenix man's Tinder meetup at a hotel resulted in him having his personal identification stolen and being robbed of $3,000 by an armed couple. According to police, the victim matched with a woman named Sonia on the dating app and agreed to meet her at the Embassy Suites Hotel near Camelback Road and 26th Street on September 17th. So when the man arrived at the hotel room to meet his date, he was instead greeted by an armed couple. Male suspect allegedly drew a gray handgun on the victim and demanded that he hand over his cell phone, ID, social media accounts, PIN codes, and bank account information. Man, those are some meth head looking fucking people, especially the chick. God damn, dude. Holy fuck. That dude, the fucking guy in that couple looks like a stone-faced killer, bro. Like, that guy looks like he's murdered some people before for the cartels, honestly, if that be the case, dude. That girl's definitely on some hardcore fucking drugs, though. So, anyway. Where are we at now? Yeah, it says, couple then forced the victim at gunpoint to drive to a Chase bank and withdraw money from the ATM machine. Victim told police that the suspects took $900 from him that night and noted that $3,000 had been removed from his account since September 17th. So here's my problem with that, right? Okay. So this is my issue with that whole thing, dude. Why the fuck wouldn't you call the cops after that? Like, I don't know. There's still phones around that aren't fucking cell phones, dude. You know, or nothing else, like ask somebody to borrow their cell phone, call the fucking cops, call your fucking bank and be like, shut down this fucking account, bro. Be like, there's clearly people trying to steal my money because they stole my fucking PIN number and credit card and shit, dude. And debit cards and everything else like that. Anyways, it's 5 days later, police identified Crystal Hersey, 33, and Jose Sandoval Juarez, 32, as the suspects after discovering the couple used their real names when paying for the hotel and withdrawing from the victim's bank account. What a couple of fucking retards, dude. Man, these people are some low-rent ass Bonnie and Clyde motherfuckers. Seriously, dude. Oh my god, bro. Jesus fuck, dude. Like, Keystone Cops, bro. Dumbass criminals doing the job for you. Anyways, the victim's vehicle was located in Las Vegas, where police attempted to pull the couple over. However, the couple was able to escape by foot and catch a ride back to Phoenix. Authorities later discovered a gray handgun in the vehicle on September 25th. So police later identified Hurley's number attached to an online escort advertisement and devised an operation to meet up with a woman, just as officers identified the couple in a Nissan Rogue SUV near Interstate 17 and Thomas Road. So the high-speed chase then ensued. So court documents say that when the woman and the guy arrived, they suspected they were being watched and sped away. So driving on the wrong side of the road, their vehicle reportedly ran out of gas, so they hit another vehicle, another driver, and carjacked their vehicle. So they straight up played GTA, apparently, is what it was, dude. Said officers attempted to pull over as they pulled them over as they drove through East Valley, but they were unsuccessful. It said Hurley and Juarez then drove up the Beeline Highway to Happy Jack, where they drove on the wrong side of the road and crashed into another vehicle. Police say that is when they attempted to flee and steal another car. Department of Public Safety helicopter landed on the road, and troopers took them into custody. So they're both being charged with assault, armed robbery, and 2 counts of vehicle theft. So the woman was additionally charged with drug offenses. Yeah, shocker, dude. Shocker, meth head looking bitch is charged with drug offenses, dude. Fucking hell, dude. So after being arrested, the guy reportedly told police that, quote, he knew this would come back to get him. How much you want to bet this dude's an illegal alien, dude, or an anchor baby in this country? One of the two. I don't know which. I wouldn't be surprised by either at this point. And again, this is why we don't let criminals into our fucking borders, dude. Like, Jesus fuck, man. Anyway. We got one more Bearing Arms story and 2 more Breitbart articles. Or no, 3 more Breitbart articles I want to read actually here. So, or no, actually I guess there's 4. I guess just, well, 2 of them are going to be headlines that we're going to talk about real quick. And then the other ones are going to be actual stories we're going to read is what it is. So first and foremost, we're going to read the headline ones because there's a couple of them that I do want to talk about here. So you got bitch-ass old man Kareem Abdul-Jabbar said, you share his stench, blast Kyrie Irving for sharing Alex Jones video. Dude, I'll tell you what, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar really is a leftist douchebag at this point. I actually stand with Kyrie on this thing, dude, because he was one of the few people in the NBA that refused to actually do the jabbity jab shit, dude. And yeah, he is one of the few people that's actually spoken up about that crap, dude. Now, granted, is he still a millionaire fucking, whatever here? Yeah. And is he playing a fucking kids game? Yeah. But again, he's actually a grown ass man, and Kareem Abdul Jabbar is just an old motherfucker, is what it is, dude. Seriously. And the other story is the other one right there with we're actually going to read that a little bit here. I'm going to go ahead and stop screen sharing and then re-screen share the actual article here, which is something I've discussed in the past with the old name and account and stuff like that, which was we now have quote unquote women's sports are being robbed. Female track athletes sue the state of Connecticut over transgender policy. About time, Selena Sol and company. Y'all should have been doing this stuff 2 years ago, ladies. Or whenever the fuck that happened. I can't remember how long it's been now. I know it's been at least 2 years. And it could be, too, that the whole 2020 lockdowns and stuff like that was a big thing to where they couldn't sue until now is what it was, dude, which would make sense. But yeah, I'm so happy to fucking see this shit, dude. Because yes, every single one of these girls was fucking robbed, dude. You had two fucking dudes, two fucking biological males who never did hormones, never did anything else like that, dude. You had one in his junior year realized that he was a fucking sack of shit who couldn't hack it with the other guys on the male track team and was like, oh, I'm a trans female now. Let me go over and run against the girls in here and never do any kind of fucking estrogen or anything else like that, dude. And then he was winning, first every single fucking time. And then it was the next year for senior year, he called up his buddy and he's like, dude, you should come over here and do what I'm doing now. And the guy's like, cool. And they would literally back and forth take 1 and 2 every single time, dude. They would switch with each other so that one could take first in one race and then the other one could take first in the next race is what it was, dude. And the other one always took second then. And when they show the actual thing from the side, dude, you had these dudes at least like 5, 6, 7 lengths above every single one of these chicks, dude. So you had them literally taking third, or bronze was now the new gold. And it's fucking bullshit because you had chicks like Selena Sol who should have gone to college on fucking scholarships that never got a chance to go to college on a fucking scholarship because these two motherfucking pieces of shit men took over these girls' sports, dude. And for people that wonder why I am anti fucking dudes in female sports, this kind of shit is exactly why right here, dude. Because you're screwing these chicks out of their ability to actually get ahead in life. And it's fucking bullshit. I am so glad to see these four ladies sue the living shit out of the state of Connecticut. I hope they fucking take them for every damn dollar, dude. Honestly, if they were smart, they wouldn't only sue the state of Connecticut, dude. They would start individually suing school districts, suing school administrators that allowed this shit to go on, whether it be superintendents or principals or whatever the fuck the case be, as well as that motherfucking piece of shit governor of Connecticut right now, dude. Because fuck that guy. And I would even go further than that and say sue Chris Murphy and Richard Blumenthal, Connecticut senators as well, dude, on this whole thing. Fuck those anti-gun douchebags, dude. Take it one step further because both those fucking douchebags support men and women's fucking sports, dude. So anyway, as I said here, though, it says 4 former Connecticut high school female athletes are suing the state for its policy allowing transgender students to participate in women's sports, which, again, it's not even transgender. It's just men competing in women's sports is what it is. Here's the big thing about that, right? You never have women going to compete in men's sports. It's only men that know they can't fucking hack it against other men that go and compete in women's sports, dude. Or if it is a fucking guy, if it is a girl going to compete in dude sports or whatever, they'll jump on a bunch of testosterone and everything else like that, dude. That's a bunch of fucking way to jack themselves up and stuff like that. Because there was that one out there, I forget exactly what state it was in, some years back now, where she actually did that. She became a quote-unquote trans man when a shitload of testosterone, was competing against other guys in like collegiate wrestling and stuff like that, and then was still on testosterone, went back and competed against the females, and there's a picture of her like yanking some chick and basically choking her out is what it is, dude. Or it's like that motherfucker Fallon Fox in the UFC where she literally broke a girl's fucking brain. She fractured the chick's skull because because the fucking man known as Fallon Fox punched this fucking biological female in the face so fucking hard it broke a fucking head, dude. Because again, there is biological difference between males and females, dude. For real. Anyway, so Selena Soule, one of the 4 track athletes at the center of the lawsuit, told Fox News that Connecticut's transgender athlete policy is unfair and disadvantages female athletes. Yes, it does, Selena. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Actually, how old is Selena Soule now? Because I feel like because it says former high school, so I'm guessing she's like 19, 20 now, probably. Somewhere in there. I'm going to check it out and see if it shows an actual age of this chick right now or not. Can't. Maybe not. Okay, she is 19 years old then. Okay, that's what I thought. I was gonna say I thought she was pretty close. So, but yeah, I feel so sorry for every single one of these girls, dude. Because again, these are the chicks that were all taking fourth or like third and fourth and stuff like that, dude. Where they should have been taking first and second in this whole thing. You know, it's just like the other thing with that fucking male who was competing in the skateboarding against a bunch of teenage girls and stuff like that, and basically took a bunch of prize money from a bunch of females. And then you had everybody else get knocked down one fucking slot, and people who should have been in prize money contention got fucked out of prize money entirely because this asshole dude trying to claim to be a trans woman and shit like that, dude. It's like, no, fuck you, bro. Fuck out of here. Anyway, said Connecticut's Department of Education has protected transgender students from discrimination since 2017, arguing they are protected under Title IX, which is an absolute fucking bullshit lie, dude. They are not. So they law prohibiting students from receiving federal law prohibiting schools from receiving federal funding from discriminating based on sex. What a bunch of crap, dude. The whole Title IX thing is a bunch of horseshit in general, dude. And so, by the way, Title IX is a fucking Obama thing, dude, that's been levied in the Supreme Court and stuff like that. Is unconstitutional right now. So anyway, said Soule also discussed the negative consequences of allowing boys to play in girls' sports. Quote, I lost out on qualifying spots for the meets, better placement, and possibly even scholarship opportunities, she told Fox News. Exactly. Yes, you did. Every single one of you ladies did, man. Every single one of these chicks in this picture should have been going to fucking full ride scholarships to college, dude. But none of them got that stuff because of these 2 fucking black males that couldn't hack it against other black males in the Connecticut school system, dude. And decided, oh, I'm a trans girl now. And their fucking shitty ass fucking parents were like, good on you, son. You do what you need to do to get ahead and go to college, bro. Like, fuck all these fucking people, dude. No, it's fuck these fucking schools, dude. Seriously. Like, this shit is just another reason to homeschool kids, man. To yank these kids out of these fucking shithole indoctrination centers entirely, dude. And if nothing else, we need to own the fucking schools at this point, dude. If it's not going to be homeschool, then we need to be suing these fucking school systems into the ground at this point and owning them as parents and guardians and aunts and uncles and grandmas and grandpas and stuff like that, dude. Seriously. Anyway, said, honestly, here it said, it was very frustrating and heartbreaking thing to have to go through. Said lawsuit against Connecticut was initially thrown out last year by U.S. District Court Judge Robert Category. I think that's how I pronounce that guy's name. By the way, this motherfucker right here should be disbarred on the spot over that shit, dude. Said he ruled the case was, quote, moot because the 2 transgender athletes who set records in women's sports had already graduated high school. It doesn't fucking matter, dude. It's a goddamn case precedent then, you fucking asshole. That's the entire point, buddy. The whole thing is a case precedent, jackass. Because it's like, you allow this to be one fucking time, dude, then everybody's going to fucking do it in the future then, dude. And we've seen that shit over and over again. You saw that fucking asshole that claimed to be known as Leah Thomas doing the shit in the fucking UPenn swimming stuff, where this fucking dude who knew he couldn't fucking hack it against other men in swimming competitions because he was like 119th in men's fucking swimming, then took first in fucking female shit, dude. Because again, shocker, a dude who was able to go through biological fucking puberty and be able to have better bone density and muscle structure and everything else like that, dude, is going to be way more fucking jacked than a biological female who has gone through biological female puberty and has less bone density, less muscle mass. And again, these are why men and women are different people, bro. You know? You can sit there and say whatever the fuck you want to say. You can call yourself whatever the fuck you want to call yourself. You can call yourself fucking Rainbow Sprinkles for all the fuck I care, dude. It doesn't mean you're actual Rainbow Sprinkles, for God's sakes. You can sit there and call yourself an Apache attack helicopter. Doesn't mean you're an Apache attack helicopter. You're still a human being, for God's sakes. Seriously, bro. Anyway. So, however, the Alliance Defending Freedom, ADF, represents the four former Connecticut track athletes in an appeal. Case is now being heard before the U.S. Court of Appeals in the 2nd District, where Chief Judge Deborah Ann Livingston heard arguments from both sides on Thursday. Good. Let's see, it said Canton High School senior Chelsea Mitchell speaks before a press conference with Alana Smith, Dunbury High School sophomore, to her left, and Selena Soul, high school senior, to her right, in the Connecticut Capitol Wednesday, October 2020, in downtown Hartford, Connecticut. Okay, so that was from a couple years ago. So yeah, that was back when Selena Soul was still a senior in high school there, and the black girl on the other side was a sophomore. So she's probably graduated now too, is my guess, honestly. So, and then of course the girl in the middle there was speaking at the thing was obviously graduated at this point as well. Before we finish things off here, I'm going to talk about this little side one here. 21-year-old Florida deputy shot dead while serving felony meth warrant. That's too bad, man. That's too bad right there. Again, that's why you always got to be wary, man. You never know what's going to happen. Actually, that's another thing too, by the way. If anything ever does go down, let's go ahead and say revolution-wise in this country, there's going to be a lot of things like that, dude. You're going to have a lot of people have their doors kicked in and not be taken alive kind of thing is what it is, dude. For real. But anyway, as I said here, though, going back to the article at hand here, it said ADF lawyers argued Connecticut's policy violates Title IX and also sought to set aside 2 transgender athletes' championship records in track and field, as they should, dude. Neither one of those guys' records should be counted at all, dude. Said plaintiffs' lawyers argued Connecticut Intercollegiate Athlete Conference rules require a retroactive correction of records if a record is found to have been achieved in violation of that rules. Said these records, we contend, were achieved not in violation of the rule, but in violation of the law, which is an even worse violation, according to ADF attorney Roger Brooks. Good. Like I said, I hope they take this fucking state, the fucking shithole of Connecticut, dude, for millions upon millions of dollars at this point, dude. If not billions of dollars, honestly. They should own those fucking schools after the fact, dude. For real. And make sure that shit can never happen again to them, dude. And as this guy in the comment section said here, he said if a biological female took performance-enhancing drugs in order to approach the performance of a biological male, would she not be disqualified? Exactly, dude. Fucking exactly. They would be disqualified on the fucking spot, dude. Because again, when you have dudes who have more testosterone in their fucking systems than females do, of course they're going to be able to run longer, jump higher, shoot further, etc., hit harder, all that stuff like that, dude. So whatever they're doing, they're going to be able to go quicker. And I would say it's the same thing across the board. Even if you go with fucking people of different races in these different things, do a track and field and stuff like that, you're going to have certain people be able to run quicker and run harder and faster and stuff like that, dude. It's just a guaranteed thing is what it is. Hang on a second, I got to readjust. Okay, I'm back now. So yeah, the whole point is though, it's a bunch of shit, dude, entirely. And yeah, going to that Florida story there. It says 21-year-old Polk County, Florida deputy was fatally shot Tuesday morning around 3 a.m. while serving what Sheriff Grady Judd, I think that's the guy who was always talking about people doing criminal shit there in that area, described as a felony meth warrant. It said ABC Action News reported that the deputy was transported to a hospital after being shot, where he succumbed to his wounds. Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd said, deputies entered the trailer successfully. Shots were fired, and one of our very young deputies had been He's been with us a very short period of time, died at the local medical center. Said Judd explained the total of 4 deputies were dispatched to serve the warrant. He told the press there will be a procession and we move our colleague and our friend Hero to medical examiner's office. I would appreciate if it would be covered that. Said Judd said the name of the fallen deputy has not been released pending notification of the family. It's terrible, man. It's terrible. That's another reason, though, why you don't fucking serve felony warrants at 3 a.m. is what it is, dude. Wait for fucking daylight. Wait for these people to, exit the fucking place and then just grab them is what it is. Just wait there and fucking snatch them out of nowhere is what it is, bro. Seriously. It's like a break and break kind of deal is what it is, man. But anyway. So got 2 more stories then, and we got 3 more stories in total. We got one from Bearing Arms. We got 2 from Breitbart. We're gonna do the fishing one next year is what it is for Ohio because we these guys should be in jail for multiple felonies right now. I'd like to point something out with the state of Ohio. I know this firsthand because I was robbed when I was living in Columbus. Grand theft in the state of Ohio, which is a felony, only has to be $500. And we'll get to that point in a little bit here is why these guys should be doing decades in prison right now. Video, fishermen caught cheating during tournament as crowd gets ugly. So a pair of fishermen were stripped of their $5,000 tournament win after judges in Ohio discovered that they had put lead weights inside their catch. Also faced the wrath of a furious crowd on Friday, according to a video at the scene. Said Chase Kreminsky from Pennsylvania and Jake Runyon, who looks like a fucking asshole scumbag sack of shit. By the way, I saw him this morning on a local news station over this whole thing. From Ohio, initially won the Lake Erie Walleye Trail Championship in Cleveland, Ohio's Gordon Park on September 30th. They were awarded a $5,000 prize for the big win. Duo's catch weighed in at 33 pounds, nearly double what their nearest competitor had weighed in. And by the way, the reason it became suspicious is because these guys were bringing in fish that were maybe 10, 14 pounds or something like that, were smaller than the shit that their competitors brought in and were weighing double the size, dude. And they're just like, wait, what? What the fuck? Yeah, so both the extreme difference in weight spread apparently caused concern, and tournament director Jason Fisher soon decided to gut one of the fish entered by Runyon and Clemsy. Said that is when the weight of the matter began to sink in. Inside the fish, the judge found lead sinkers, and it was realized the 2 fishermen stuffed the weights inside the fish to make them weigh more so they could win the tournament. Said after cutting the fish open, Fisher abruptly announced to the crowd, "We got weights on the fish," and the crowd was not happy about being duped. Said folks in the crowd began suggesting that the fishermen be arrested for attempted theft of the prize money, and Fisher angrily wondered how many of other tournaments these 2 people had cheated in to win as Runyon stood by stone-faced and silent. And by the way, we're actually going to show a little bit of this video because it's basically a bunch of spoiler alert, there's a bunch of fucks being given in this one. So hopefully this comes through okay. Go ahead and play this real quick. You're a piece of shit. You're a fucking piece of shit. I like how that one guy said all these fucking years. There's the point to that, by the way. Because these 2 fucking douchebags have won many, many tournaments, took first place in a bunch of them, dude, over the years is what it is. Yeah, so as it turns out, it could be... we're right now. Yeah, it says, as it turns out, it could be quite a few events these guys rigged. Nonetheless, these 2 suspected cheaters have a long list of first prize wins under their belts, and one of their wins was a big deal. So the two won the Blaster Walleye Fall Brawl and Walleye Slam to earn the Lake Erie Walleye Trail Championship in December of last year. Prize money came in at a whopping $306,000. These guys need to be in Ohio prison the rest of their fucking lives, dude, for grand theft of a shitload of fucking funds, dude. Like, it needs to be every single time that these guys won a tournament, dude, should be looked at as one more cheat and should be looked at as one more fucking felony of how much ever money it was for the fucking prize, dude, that they had. So this pair is one of their tournaments in which boats were also considered prizes as well there. Fucking disgusting, dude. So unsurprisingly, since Friday's outing, the two have been banned from Ohio's Lake Erie Walleye Trail Championship, pending more investigations into their past wins. As of this morning, I was watching the news and stuff, and they were talking about it on there, and they said that the Ohio Fish and Wildlife is basically investigating their asses for all these times, dude. So anyway, said there have been other allegations lodged against these two douchebags. Said Daily Mail added that the two were accused of hiding previously caught fish and adding them to fresh catches at the Rossford Walleye Roundup, causing even more speculation. After the Rossford tournament, the two refused to donate their catch to a local food bank, as many contestants usually do. Said Runyon also defended himself against claims that he was a cheater before, even hiring a lawyer to deflect against allegations, but for now it appears that many of the duo's past wins are coming under a microscope, as they should be, dude. And like I said, I put mine here yesterday about how they should be in jail right now. As one guy said a couple days ago, he said, I know fishermen are accused of lying about their catches, but this is just sad. Nothing's sacred anymore. These guys are losers. Yes, they are. The fucking scumbags, dude. There's a good one, too, about criminality in leftist states. Revolving door. Chicago convict arrested for 15th time this year, was in custody the week before. Fucking ridiculous, dude. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. Then we got that one right there. Gunners of America secures injunction against Philly Mayor Jim Kennedy's gun control. Yay, a 2A win. Let's go and talk about that one for a minute, actually, since we're here anyway. So, yeah, go ahead and grab that one up. So, let's see, as I said here, got... So Gunners of America secured a permanent injunction against Philadelphia Mayor Jim Kennedy's executive gun controls on Monday. So here's my thing about this guy, this Jim guy that's the Philly mayor and stuff, dude. How the hell is he doing gun controls in Philadelphia when you literally have state preemption in the state of Pennsylvania, dude? It makes no sense at all that this even had to come to this lawsuit to begin with, dude. This little fucking douchebag right here, the Philly mayor, should have got fucking dick slapped down on the fact that he was breaking preemption law at a state level, dude. Anyways, it says Breitbart News reported Kennedy's gun controls on September 27, 2022, noting they banned even licensed concealed carriers from carrying guns in public pools, or to public pools, parks, and recreational centers. Said same day, Kennedy, pictured above, put forward his gun control. The Philadelphia Inquirer pointed out Kennedy's controls would face an uphill battle, legally speaking. Said uphill battle was predicted on the fact Pennsylvania has a preemption statute which bars cities and municipalities from passing gun controls that exceed what those that exist at a state level. Exactly. So the Inquirer noted courts have cited preemption would consistently striking down attempts to cities, including Philadelphia, to ban quote-unquote assault weapons, limit handgun purchases, and prohibit guns in parks and recreational centers. Gunners of America filed a lawsuit against Kennedy's executive orders and secured a permanent injunction less than a week after it was introduced. Philadelphia Court of Common Pleas issued a permanent injunction against the gun control on Monday, October 3rd, 2022, so yesterday. So yeah, you want to talk about somebody who's actually doing something, NRA? Yeah, it's not your bitch asses motherfuckers. It's the GOA motherfuckers that are actually getting shit done here. So fuck you, National Rifle Association. You bitch ass asswipes that did nothing for fucking gunners of this country at all. So Philadelphia is expected to appeal the ruling, a case in GOA versus Philly, court case number 2647 in the Court of Common Pleas of Philadelphia. So yeah, good. I am so fucking glad about this one. That is a fucking win for us. That is many wins for us right now, dude, when it comes to Second Amendment stuff. And this is exactly what we need to keep doing. We need to keep suing, and we need to keep winning. We need to sue fucking Bloomberg's ass the fuck out of existence at some point in the future, dude. And we need to take that cocksucker's billions and start funding actual constitutionalist candidates for office that are going to sit there and be a bunch of oath keepers to their constitutional oaths and be able to institute nationwide constitutional carry and nationwide stand your ground and make this country what it should have always been from the founding of this fucking nation is what it is, bro. Seriously. And I think that's where we're going to leave it off today. I said I had a couple of their stories, but we'll wait another time to do those ones anyway, because they're not really, they're basically a mishmash anyway of stuff that I didn't really want to, it was one of those things I was going to talk about later anyway, so it's whatever. So we'll wait and talk about those in a little while or whatever, do a couple things to do. I feel like this is where we go off. We go off on the win. We go off on the win. We can win because if we work together and do what needs to be done, not tearing each other down, but lifting each other up, we can actually get the wins that we need necessary in this country, dude. And we can finally take out the anti-gunners once and for all financially and be able to do what needs to be done and take their millions and their billions and their trillions and everything else like that in lawsuits, bankrupt these fuckers into the ground once and for all, and be able to then use that money to do something that can make this country a better nation overall, which is get the candidates that we should be having in office that can't afford to run for office because they don't have the money to run for office, and find good constitutionalists that just want to run is what it is, dude, and be able to fund their campaigns and get them into office where they need to be right now so that they can make the changes necessary to secure a better future for the Second Amendment, for the Constitution, and for every child in this country right now that could be a Second Amendment advocate, activist, constitutionalist, or anything else for that matter in the future, and actually have a Second Amendment for future generations to look by and live by and be able to exercise properly. And it's as simple as that. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you all in the next one.